Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Sonia Ganatra, who actually works at Briggs Burton. But today, we're not talking about Briggs Burton. We're actually talking about her role as part of ISPE UK and specifically learn more about ISPE UK and their upcoming annual meeting and awards, which is on the 30th of November in Coventry. So, Sonia, first of all, it's lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm very, very well. And we're talking off camera cap actually because I last saw Sonia in person 2 years ago, I think,
Yeah, it
in
was at the Making
Coventry
Farmer.
at
Yeah, at the
Making
same
Farmer
venue.
at the same
Same
venue.
venue as well.
And you were actually on the ISP UK booth, if I remember correctly. Now,
Correct. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people watching this may be familiar with ISP, but for those who are not familiar with ISP, as in the main organization, who've
Yeah.
actually got their annual meeting running this week in Las Vegas, uh, tell me more about ISP for people not familiar with ISP as an organization.
So the ISPE, or it's known as the International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineering in full, is a global community of pharmaceutical employees or people in the regulatory environment, academics, anyone that's connected to the pharma industry in any shape or form forms part of this community. So there's 18,000 members globally across 90 countries. So it's a real vast community that the organization has built. It is non for profit, so it's not a profit organization as such, but its kind of core purpose is to educate and inspire the pharmaceutical community to progress, move forward, embrace all of the rapid changes that are happening across the industry. So it's headquartered in Tampa, Florida, in the US, but it forms part of lots and lots of affiliates that have now formed in various countries and regions of the world. But yeah, sole purpose is to educate and inspire.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about the UK affiliate, for want of a better term. So, tell me more about ISP UK. I mean, how long has it been going, and how does it differ then to the main ISP organization? Because obviously, if someone belongs to ISPE, why, what makes you different? Why should they be also joining the UK affiliate?
The UK affiliate, yeah. So the UK affiliate, a little birdie told me yesterday that it's been around since 1987.
Right.
So older than I am, not to try and make people feel old, but it has been established since 1987. And the UK affiliate is formed of four regions. So we've got the central, the northeast, northwest, and south. As four regions, and the community in the UK encourages members to join a region that they might be closely located to, or it might be where their place of work is, whether they're an academic, regulatory, or part of a pharmaceutical manufacturing company, or an engineering company like myself, to join this committee, and or just be a member. And then just learn and network with the industry, really. I think one of the key differentiators and real drive that the UK affiliate has in comparison to others is the events. So really trying to get a robust events calendar up and running every year and keeping it consistent. So I'll touch on the events in more detail, but there's two main events really throughout the year, and then we try and bookend that with some site visits. So actually encouraging our members to go and visit a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility that might have recently opened, or they might have done some groundbreaking research, or something like that. So it's all about the learning mechanism. So that's the core element that we're taking from the ISP organization overall. But the events and the networking is really the key differentiator and how we're trying to push forward and really grow that network as well. So we've probably got over 1,000 members at the moment in the UK. So in comparison to your 18,000, quite a small captive audience. But what's great about that is everyone can network quite easily. They can meet easily, and it's really surprising to know and see how many people know each other from the industry, whether they've worked together previously on projects or previous organisations. It's a really nice community to be part of.
Right. Now, you mentioned obviously the key for you guys is doing events. Now, we're going to talk in more detail about the annual meeting and the awards you've got. But before we do that, then, so to give viewers a feel, what are the sort of other events that you do apart from the annual meeting and awards that we're going to talk about? What other events do you do?
So there's the annual event, which is in November. There's a summer conference, which is around regulatory. So if you're really interested in that field or that you're part of that world, that conference focuses on that, and that's usually spring. It's really funny. We have an inside joke, and we call it the summer conference, but it's actually the spring when it runs. But it's around regulatory. And then there's a lot of site visits. So we have members that are part of pharmaceutical manufacturing companies like AstraZeneca or GSK. There's obviously the supply chain. So you've got engineering companies or those that do filling or machinery. So we're trying to encourage the members to visit each of those sites and really understand what the pharmaceutical industry is all about. It's $1 trillion industry globally, but there's real niches as part of that. And the UK have a lot of niches. They have obviously the research side, the laboratories. There's lots of manufacturing in the country, so it's really trying to play up and those strengths really.
Right.
So beyond those two events, that's really what the organisation is trying to bring forth.
Cool. Now let's talk about the annual meeting, which is, as I said, on November the 30th, and the awards. So, for viewers who've never been to the annual meeting before, or even been to the awards, can you give me a quick overview of what the annual meeting normally composes of? And also, we can talk about the awards after that.
Yeah, so the annual conference is split into two. So you've got a daytime conference, a traditional conference as such, where it really gives the supply chain an opportunity to promote what they do. And so we have a traditional setup. There's some stand allocations, so there's some stand set up during the day, and then that's complemented with technical talks. So we have some sponsorship categories. Platinum sponsors get a 15-minute symposium to talk about technology that they're uh, maybe market leading or they want to focus on and educate the team or the audience about. And then we tie that in with pharmaceutical manufacturers. So this year we've got a lot of talks from Pfizer and AstraZeneca about the need for speed. So that's the theme really for this year, and it's not just solely about COVID-19. There's a need for speed across several different supply chains, whether that you're producing an inhaler or a cream, an ointment, whatever that might be. It gives our supply chain an opportunity to speak about those challenges and those opportunities that the industry is facing. So the daytime conference is educational, technical focus, and an opportunity for networking and sales. Our keynote speaker this year is Professor Jonathan Van Tam, who you may have seen as part of the COVID-19 effort on
Yep.
the TV. So quite a prolific personality supporting the event, and we're really trying to push that as that's the reason why you should be there because you're learning from someone like Professor Jonathan Van Tam who has a lot of industry knowledge and insight about the need for speed.
Right. Okay. And let's talk about the awards. And so, the awards itself, how long has that been running?
So the awards, again from memory, is since the 90s really. So there's a range of categories. There's Supplier of the Year, which allows the supply chain to put themselves forward. There's Manufacturer of the Year as well for those that are manufacturing within the UK, and Member of the Year as well. So what we're also trying to promote is if you're part of a committee and you've done some brilliant work, like nominate those candidates and put them forward. So it's really about boosting that positivity across the community, and then hopefully that encourages others to join. Okay, well, I've got some really good ideas, or I want to bring change within the ISP UK community. I have the chance to do that and also be applauded for it at an awards event. So it's a really nice way to end the conference in the evening. The evening event is all about networking and really building those relationships. So all in all, it is a great event to attend.
Right.
It's not thousands and thousands of people. It's quite a captive audience, probably 250, 300 people that attend the conference during the day. But I think that's about right because then you can actually have meaningful conversations with the supply chain, with manufacturers across the country, really.
Fantastic. Now, Sonia, as I've got you here and we're talking about the UK specifically, as you were talking, something popped into my head, and it was like, well, actually, how has Brexit, that dreaded word, impacted ISP members? I mean, is it an issue that your members have talked about or affected them in any way? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want to sort of preempt your answer because some people I speak to say, well, actually, we planned ahead for it and it's not been an issue at all. But I'm just curious from an ISP UK perspective, is it something which has come up? And also, what other challenges
Yeah,
do your members face, which you might think might be unique to the UK sector compared to other
yeah.
parts of Europe or the States?
It's a really interesting question, and to be honest, since being a member at ISP, Brexit hasn't really come up. I think COVID's come up, and that was a huge challenge on the industry, and
Sure.
it's hit the whole globe. So we didn't expect it. It was a pandemic, and I think the pharmaceutical industry has been quite resilient,
Sorry, you
even with
froze for
sort
a
of.
second there. You might have to repeat that. Your screen froze for a second when you were just starting that sentence. So
I'd like to say that the pharmaceutical industry in the UK has been quite resilient. We're still seeing a lot of investment from the supply chain and expanding their own manufacturing operations to help those end users build their systems and factories and facilities. So I don't think there's been a huge negative downturn. Yes, there's been a blip because of COVID or Brexit, but I don't think there's been a huge negative downturn. I don't think I'm in a position to comment on for other organisations, but I personally haven't seen that
right,
as a negative sort of roadblock.
okay, fine.
I think the industry's embraced the challenges that it's faced in terms of obviously the UK, and I think there's lots of regulatory changes dependent on the drugs or what's being manufactured. There are things that have affected those end users and the supply chain and adapting. I think one of the most apparent examples I've seen is the inhalant manufacturing industry. So there's been a huge drive. I think it's called the Montreal Protocol, where the propellants change. So the industry have to adapt to that and accept the sustainable greener propellant that is now going to form part of their manufacturing operations. So that's a huge plus for the supply chain to adopt that. Yes, there's a cost implication, and the manufacturers will have to invest in that. But there's a supply chain and engineering or equipment manufacturers that can support that. So I think it's just coming together really when those regulatory changes come to fruition.
Right, okay, fantastic. So final question. People are
Okay.
watching this and they're thinking, that's interesting, but they're still undecided. Why should people attend the ISPE annual meeting on November 30th and come to the awards?
I think the ISP event has something for everyone. So if you're a technical geek and you like to learn about what the industry, how the industry is changing, or if you want to learn about a specific technology or regulatory change, there's talks throughout the day. If you want to engage with the supply chain, or you want to purchase a system or get some engineering support, or whatever that might be, there's that element to it. And then if you want to just network and broaden your network, the awards dinner brings that opportunity as well. So I think there's something for everyone. It's a relatively low cost event as well, so it's not thousands of pounds to buy a ticket. If you are an ISPA member, you do get a little bit of a price reduction, but it is pretty cost effective. It's a central location in the UK as well, and all in all, it's a great venue as well.
All right. Well, Sonia, well done. Well, thank you for sharing all that information.
Thank you.
So there you go, viewers. If you are involved in pharma in the UK in any shape or form, and you'd be interested in learning more about the event and attending, and not just that, but learning more about ISP UK, click on the link above the video and you can learn more. Also, if you've got any questions for Sonia based on what she said today about ISP or anything else, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'm sure Sonia will be only too happy to answer them. So, Sonia, it's lovely to see you. Thank you very much for taking time out to talk to me about ISP UK and the
Yeah.
upcoming events. I hope it all goes very well in the planning and so on. And hopefully, I'll maybe even see you in person at the event as well. So, viewers, once again, if you'd like to learn more about ISP UK and what they're doing, check out the link. And hopefully, maybe I'll see you at the conference and awards as well on November 30th. So until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye bye.